How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
I'm so good with these intros, by the way. Hey, what kind of music do you listen to?
I listen to rap, house, techno, synth pop. Just because Matt Carpenter is a very close friend, I'll say country. Oh yeah, and I like rock.
So everything.
So that's interesting though, because I've been down there. We've been down there at spring training before, and it seems like whether it's Jeff Albert, does he set up the BP mix based on your hitting groups? Because I'm sure if you want some, maybe Avicii or Calvin Harris, but Matt Carpenter might want Johnny Cash. Is that kind of set up by the hitting coach?
It actually is catered to the hitters, and it's also catered to service time. So if I do in fact find myself in group number one, you better believe Yachty's got the aux cord. Matt Carpenter, yeah, but he's Carp is good. Some days he's very strict, wants his country. Other days he kind of lets the younger guys do their thing. So yeah, but it is in fact catered to the hitters. So that's always fun.
We're talking with Cardinals Centerfielder Harrison Bader, who has branched out because and kudos for doing this, by the way. I saw someone tweet about it, and then I was watching the 5 Fox. That's the local broadcast of Channel 5 News.
They're okay.
And you were featured in there. Harrison Bader helped out a local elementary school that was having a tough time staffing because of the COVID thing.
Yep.
And he was a guest gym teacher, PE teacher. So, first, nice work, Harrison. But how did that whole thing come about? How did that whole thing happen?
Yeah, sure. This whole thing is really gaining a lot more traction than I would have anticipated. I really just enjoy doing these things because I really just enjoy doing them. I love being around children in any capacity. But, it has gained some traction, so I guess we can, in fact, talk about it.
Well, hold on. Let me put this out there so people know. It wasn't like... And this happens sometimes in the media world, like a celebrity or a pro athlete will do something, right? And like their PR person will make sure that there's 10 cameras there.
Yes.
This came to the public awareness because a teacher at the school tweeted it out because she was so thrilled that her kids got to meet Harrison Bader. And then next thing you know, it had legs of its own. That was not your intent. But tell us how the whole thing came about.
Yeah, no, I mean, it definitely wasn't the intent, but actually, I always try to view things as positive as I can. And, a lot of good did in fact come out with it because a lot of other schools kind of reached out. And, St. Louis is such a tight-knit community. So, a good thing came from it because there are definitely some more opportunities to kind of do the same exact thing as I did at Merrimack. But yeah, so basically, as you mentioned, I was in St. Louis for a couple of things. And, by not having the winter warm-up this year, unfortunately, I just thought it was a good time. It was a good time for me and my schedule to pop into St. Louis for a couple of days. So a number of things lined up that I want to, kind of just get more and more buttoned up for the spring and summer and just having a great year off the field and all the work that I, have the opportunity to do and engage in. So, I just had like a block open and we were just kind of joking around at breakfast and kind of turned into a thing where my, my very close friend Brian reached out to, the superintendent that he knows and essentially got me locked in there. And I found out, in these conversations that they really were short-staffed. And again, as I mentioned, even at that level, at the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade level, at this moment, I'm not exactly as well-versed in math or science as I may be. And I don't want to feed these kids any misinformation. So PE was the easiest route for me. So I found myself catching dodgeballs and throwing dodgeballs into a hoop and helping some teams win some games at a game called Superstar. But, all in all, regardless of the activity, it really was just a lot of fun, again, to engage with a lot of children. I think that the most interesting part was experiencing and hearing COVID from their perspective. There's just such a young age and their minds just work in such fascinating ways. So just to kind of be in their space for, the time was just awesome for me. And I know there were some smiles on those masks and everything. So, yeah, it was just a great, it was a great couple hours.
And Harrison, I'm sure you already know this, but does it put things in more perspective when you see these kids? And I'm sure they look up to you as an absolute hero, and you're playing in front of 45,000 people. But when you see it and hear it from kids, is that a little different?
Oh yeah, I mean, no doubt. I don't know if I'm a hero or anything like that. There's a lot of heroes that we've experienced and come across, especially throughout this pandemic, that truly are doing heroes work. I just think that kids see and view me that way because of all the lights and the fast-paced action that's in front of them, and I love it and respect it, no doubt. But yeah, just being with these teachers and just again talking with them and knowing what they're going through. I mean, those really are the real heroes. But no, I mean, regardless, I just really enjoy in any level, whether it's an adult or a young kid, but a young kid especially who's wants to talk baseball and say I'm one of their favorite players, or they play as me in MLB The Show. And I actually had a kid who was reciting my all my metrics, my offensive and defensive metrics, and this is he was a fourth grader, and he's telling me that the hitting is solid, but it could be improved, and he thinks that I got more power than what I'm showing. So I mean, I'm taking true notes from young kids, but one thing he did in fact say, he was like, your defensive metrics are great, man, and you're very fast, so just keep doing that. So it was just really fun to just engage these kids in any way. So yeah.
So when you do play, sometimes you get a little bit carried away and you don't realize how strong you are, and you're playing dodgeball with some of these kids. I mean, do you ever just like throw the ball a little bit too hard and pelt one of them? And you're like, oh boy, sorry about that, like kind of Billy Madison style.
Yeah, exactly. I did in fact get close. Initially, as the game started, I was just trying to get a feel for the ball. I came a little bit too close to pegging some young children in the head, so I aimed my sights a little higher and was just shooting for the hoop the entire time. So we avoided injuries at all costs. Yes.
Right on.
And Harrison, I'm sure you dominated dodgeball back in the day at recess and gym class. What other sports did you play growing up? We were watching the college football national championship game last night. Did you play any football or basketball or anything else?
I did not play any football. I love the game. I think I would have been good at football, but my mother, as she can attest to this day, would never let me put pads on. So didn't really get a chance to play football. Basketball wasn't really my thing either.
Track?
Never go lefty.
What about
never
track?
Go lefty. Track? Yeah, no, I just didn't do it. I was actually a very big skier. And I've always said that I'm a better skier than I am baseball player, which is true. And obviously, I don't really have the ability to ski. I'm sure if I got hurt, God forbid, something in the litigation or the language that would prevent me from being covered properly, that'd be up for dispute, and it's really just not worth it. So maybe I'll take out an insurance policy. I believe someone, back in the day, my dad tells me all the time, I think it was maybe Drew Bledsoe or something, but don't quote me on it. But there was somebody who took out an insurance policy. I think it was for $100,000 a year just so he could ski. So is that in my future? I don't necessarily know. But, of all things, I actually was a very large skier. I've skied all around the country with my dad. And yeah, I guess that's where I kind of got some of my athleticism.
Well, I can tell you this, that if there is any sort of insurance policy, you're going to need more coverage than $100,000 the way things have gone. So for these kids, right, I mean, everyone in St. Louis, every kid loves the Cardinals. So, I mean, you made their day. I mean, you have probably had kids that'll, talk about that for years to come, meeting Harrison Bader. When you were a kid, did you ever have an in-person experience with a celebrity that stayed with you that at the time you thought was the greatest thing ever?
I did. And it honestly is the reason why I am the way I am with kids, especially when it comes to, signing stuff. Or getting, kids some baseballs, or just, a high five or a dap. Just any type of smile. When I was super young playing the Yankees, watching the Yankees, my dad would always take me to the games where the opposing teams had, some superstars. And, this would range all the time. So I was like, I was born in 94. So I was going to Yankee games since I was, 6, 7, 8 years old. And one of the earliest ones I remember was actually Rafael Palmeiro, and I was on the first base side of the old Yankee Stadium, and I would, every single inning do the same exact thing. I'd run down and, try to get a ball, and I'd be jumping up and down. And, a couple innings would go by, you'd toss the ball elsewhere. But I did, in fact, get a ball, and an older guy, I don't really remember him. I don't have his Instagram handle, so I haven't really kept up tabs with him. But he jumped in front of me, and actually Rafael Palmeiro, right before the inning started, runs over, and waves his arms. Hey, he's got to give that kid the ball, and the guy ultimately gave him the ball. But I think it just really stuck with me because, seeing a superstar in my eyes, really a hero, like we mentioned earlier, in my eyes, take the time to just stop over and, make sure that a young kid got the baseball who was really wanting it. It's always stuck with me. I know my father's always told that story, and he's always appreciated it.
It's pretty great.
So yeah, and again, obviously now I'm at that level. I'm not obviously at first base, but if I see an intended target not receive the baseball, I absolutely do my best to run over there and give the kid the ball, or maybe the next inning I'll do my best to kind of give it back to. But again, man, these are just these other little things that, like you mentioned, I mean, kids, their minds at a young age are just they're sponges, and they remember certain moments, and it really does shape the way they view players. And I've always just wanted to be, as a result of that moment, but also because of the way my parents have raised me, just to be as much of a positive figure in kids' eyes, and I can do little things like that. I mean, it's just so easy to do, and so it's just so nice. So yeah.
No, I get you on that, and it can go the opposite way too, Harrison. And you know that as well, as like when you're a kid and you go up to a player that you like, and he just like brushes you off and ignores you. You're like, I don't like him anymore. Like it could change you in a negative way too if you kind of just ignore a kid.
Yeah, no, I mean, it definitely can. I mean, it's just so important, especially with how prevalent social media is in today's world, and just to always just be as positive of a figure as you can, especially when you're around children. Even if the camera doesn't catch something, it's just always so important to be just a good role model for kids, and it's just so easy on our end to sign a little bit more, toss an extra ball here and there, maybe just stay for a picture. It really just is so easy. I mean, we're many of us can attest to being incredibly fortunate to be able to do what we do. And if we can give back in just small ways, as simple as that, I mean, come on, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And Harrison, I was checking your Instagram. I saw you were hanging out with another guy we had on the radio show last week, the Blues Hall of Famer, Bernie Federko. You guys were doing something with Mardi Gras. What was that?
Yes, that was the first time I met Bernie, and
he's awesome.
Under those circumstances, he was great. Under those circumstances, it was very interesting. It really was. So Bernie was the previous king, or the Rex now, again, as I understand the term to be, of Mardi Gras. And, Mardi Gras is just such a deep tradition in St. Louis. And the Mardi Gras, event and party itself is, from what I've heard, second to, the big one in New Orleans. So just a huge event, the number of people, the turnout, the videos I've seen, not only, in previous years and being St. Louis, but also, leading up to the event. I mean, it's just an awesome experience and an awesome tradition to be a part of. And, I'm very honored to just engage in just such a deeply rooted, event within St. Louis. And it's just in such a historic neighborhood in Soulard, as we all know. And it's just awesome. It just really is. It'll just be something really good if, spring training is in fact delayed, that I can be a part of, again, turning some negative things into some positive things. And, just be around St. Louis, because when we do get this all figured out, the energy in that city, the energy that I know I'm bringing, my teammates are bringing for 2022, the city, we all need to be one, and we all need to be together. So, if I could just take a small step towards that and being on a Mardi Gras float and, being the new Rex, and you better believe I'm going to do it. So it's very exciting, and I'm just very, very happy, and I'm looking forward to see how that all shakes out.
That's awesome. Mardi Gras is wondersome, except for the public urination.
Shaq's coming in town, by the way.
Yeah,
Diesel Shaq.
Yeah, baby. What's up?
Yeah, I'm sure there are definitely some things that aren't perfect about it, but I'll do my best to police that.
That's right. Yeah. Harrison Bader made a citizen's arrest on a guy who was trying to take a leak. So, Harrison, I've known you for a while, and I'm if I'm anything, I'm a journalist.
Oh, sure, yeah,
and
sure.
I took a lot of static because you're now, and what we like to do also, we did the same thing with Matt Holliday, is we like to make our guests that we're hoping to be regulars say on the air that they're a regular, so that we have it on record. So, right, you're going to be like a regular, semi-regular with this show, correct?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Oh. All right. There was a little hesitation there, but we're going to take it. So, last time you were on, I didn't know this about you, that you paint, and some people were criticizing me for not cross-examining you, in that, as someone who appreciates the arts and participates in them, why during a game, not last season, but the season before, did you send a ball to destroy Fred Bird's work of art?
Because prior to the game, I heard that he paints in acrylic, and I paint in oil, and I wanted to show him that when a ball is struck against a canvas, that oil holds up far better than acrylic.
See, there's a reason for it.
How about that?
That's
so
a good.
I had to show him, and as evidence of the impact, we saw the painting was destroyed. So now, hopefully, Fred Bird will understand that oil is much more sturdy and a much more reliable medium, if you will, in case of flying baseballs. And yeah, this was just an experiment between him and I. That was the reason.
Harrison Bader emerging as a major leaguer, great year last year, embedding in the community, substitute gym teacher, Mardi Gras king,
skier.
He will be patrolling for people urinating in public to cut down on that.
Yeah.
And he's giving art lessons to Fred Bird. You're doing a lot of really
God's
good things.
work.
Now, is there any way, because now we're sort of affiliated with each other, that you're a reluctant regular on the program now, is there any way I can see one of your paintings and put it out there? Because I just want you to know there are literally a dozen people who listen to this show that want to see what you paint.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it's very important, as with many things in life, timing is really of the essence. And I have some works together, and I would much rather showcase them more grand, if you will, as an installation, as opposed to just a couple that I do in fact have ready to be showcased.
So in other words, like you'll have an opening, as opposed to sending me a schlub some painting that I could put on Twitter that 20 people.
Yeah,
I understand.
I'd rather show you 5 or 6 together, as they would all play off of one another. Again, it's just patience and timing is very key here, and for you, Jim, because I can tell that you're very, very enthused about this, which I appreciate, because I'm my biggest supporter about my art. So if I could have someone else like that, then that's awesome. But also the people who are curious, about it, please just give them my best and explain to them that greatness is right around the corner for their pupils, and this is a process they need to just trust.
It is a process.
It is.
Yeah.
Hey, let me ask you this. Well, me and her are in the same kind of character. We're very blessed. We have the same kind of hair, and mine's thick and luscious, just like yours. Do you have any hair product coming out? Like, we'll pump up a bunch of stuff on this radio show. Just like Jimmy said, we have like 12 to 13 listeners. Baker's dozen, I think that's what it is.
Yeah, we're on the rise.
And if you got any hair anything like that, and of course I'd like to get some myself, because when you wake up in the morning, you got that long hair, it goes everywhere.
No, it's not about getting free stuff. You want to help hair.
I want to help. Yeah, people with nice hair like me. I want to help them be able to control it better.
Yeah, I've actually had an opportunity to work with a company called Miracle Flow in creating my own my own box, my own design. It's a whole experience for the user, which I think is very important, because as with a T-shirt or especially with something you're putting in your hair regularly, I mean, there's just a level of trust there, and I want the experience to be just right. So I've had an opportunity to work with a company called Miracle Flow. There's definitely something coming very, very soon for the hair products.
That's breaking news.
That's breaking news.
Good work, Cam.
Thank you.
Yeah, it is. The hair space has been interesting. I wanted to make sure that I did it correctly, and I've definitely had some opportunities to work with some companies, but they just didn't really feel right, and I wanted to just, I understand the value of the flow, and I just wanted to do it right. So, in time, as with the painting, in time, but there's a turnaround time quickly for this, so stay tuned for that.
Good stuff. And remember, if you have this product coming out, then we will try to enforce the fact that you are a regular on this show, and we'll help you move product. Harrison, always
Thank
a
you.
pleasure, always entertaining. You dropped some news on us,
yes,
and we will talk to you next week, my friend.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. And I dropped some news on you because you guys asked very, very good questions. So
Clip that off.
That's
Clip that
what
off.
we do,
that?
Harrison.
Promo. Thank you, Harrison.
Thanks, big boy.
Thanks, Harrison.
All right. We'll talk to you guys next week, yeah?
Right on, man.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
I'm tweeting that out.
All right,
Tweet that out.
See y'all later.
See you, buddy. Gosh, great guy.
That's fantastic.
Great
We got
hair.
Holiday. We got Bader.
I know
Good
Harrison.
stuff.
Harrison's brother Master wanted to ask questions. I'm not ready to do that yet. You know, I don't want to scare Harrison, but his brother Master always texts in, and he wanted to ask questions. I'm like, I'm just not there yet.
Yeah, let's cut that.
And I didn't. Yeah. And I didn't, Jimmy.
When I set this up, I did set this up. I told him we don't want to ask you the same 4 baseball questions. Like, we just want to talk, especially now. Like,
how do you hit the slider?
Yeah. So I said, we just want to talk about nonsense, and it'll be different every week. I will ask him this question, though, with Harrison, because the kid who was giving him the metrics and everything does have a point. Bader, on top of being a guy who can play defense, who we saw with a much more consistent offensive season, he does have power.
100%.
So how do you balance that? Like I like Harrison on the base paths because he's so fast, and I can see defensive tense up with all these guys who the Cardinals have who could run, like Tommy and O'Neill and Sosa. When they're on the base paths, the defense tightens up. We've seen that time and time again. They make a mistake because they're so tight. So I want to see Harrison on base paths. So how do you balance knowing that there's some power in there? I think he could be like, I mean, what do you have, 16 homers last year? Something. He could be a 20 home run guy and, 30, 40 stolen bases. How do you balance that? We've seen, like in the past, Colton Wong would hit some home runs, kind of mess up his swing a little bit, and he'd have to go back to, the basics and be the guy who gets on. How do you balance that? That can't be easy. Especially when you're painting portraits.
Yeah. And we looked last week. I believe if he was healthy for the whole season, I believe if he kept that pace up, he would have been around 25 homers and 30 doubles for a guy that can run, wreak havoc on the base paths, obviously Gold Glove defensively. And I have to say, he may have inspired me last week because he was talking about painting. In the last week or so, my daughter and I have we've basically used markers to create all kinds of little pictures. Now, I'm not going to lie, I'm getting into it. I'm kind of proud of my work. And then when I have a picture going and my daughter wants to come over and help, I kind of don't want her to do it because she's messing it up. All due respect, she's great, but she's about to be 4 years old.
Gosh.
So do you guys want me to show you? I can go home. I took about 3 pictures. They're mostly landscape. I have one of...
I like landscape pictures.
Well, it's with Crayola markers, though. So this is marker art.
I know what those are. Those are washable magic marker,
so
looking like they're crayons.
We have a landscape of an apple tree with a sun.
Ooh.
My daughter loves red wagons. Anytime I draw something, she says, draw me a red wagon. And then randomly, because my son was playing with a chew toy that looks like an avocado, I drew a whole picture based on an avocado. So I can tweet this out. I want you guys to go see it.
Do you take requests?
Yes.
I would like to see a landscape of the leaves that you haven't raked in your own yard because you're lazy, blowing into the neighbor's yard, and maybe sort of in the background like a neighbor looking frustrated.
I like that.
I told you my wife bought me a painting kit for Christmas. I'm going to paint the cemetery or the graveyard in my backyard with the ghosts.
And you
stuff.
do it?
I haven't done it yet.
It's
but
fun.
I have.
I used to draw and do like portraits and stuff when I was a kid, and I went to college, and I brought home my brother who's in the radio business. He's a suit, hires them and fires them in Los Angeles, Penguin. And I went away to college and I started doing radio, and my first tape that I brought home, my brother listened to it and said, "You should be an art major."
Wow.
That's a true story. Might have been right.
I'm telling you, though, when I was drawing and markering with my kid, it was fun. It was soothing.
No, it's relaxing. Howard Stern does it too, man. Look, I like Harrison more and more every time we talk to him. He skis. He does great stuff with kids. He paints. I'm kind of getting into all that kind of stuff. The skiing thing, I wanted to ask him, like, where do you like, what's the best mountain? What's the best snow? You're making some coin now. Like, you're going to buy a little mountain house with ski in and ski out by it. Like, dude, if you're going to go on a trip, wives, just buddies, doesn't matter. You go on a ski trip to Colorado, you stay in a ski in, ski out. It's beautiful white packed snow. You're right there. You can walk down. There's no crime anywhere. You walk down to Aspen or wherever you're at, go to all these little bars. Dude, that's what you do. Now, skiing is dangerous. It is so dangerous. You get caught on those little gaps where you go in between like the wooded area and you can't stop and always come out and there's a big jump. It's dangerous. You don't do it when you're still playing, but man, oh man, That's the trip that I want to go on. We should all go skiing. Ski in, ski out, somewhere in Aspen. Drive a Lamborghini like Dumb and Dumber. Hand out coin. Do IOUs.
And he's from New York, so maybe Catskills?
Yeah,
where's the skiing up there?
Vermont, stuff like that,
Vermont?
too. Yeah.
He's right outside the city. I don't know where in New York you
can go upstate New York.
He was born in Bronxville.
What's that?
Bronxville is where he was born.
Yeah, and he's from that part of the city. I don't know where you ski in New York. When I lived in New York growing up, me and my high school buddies went to Killington, Vermont to ski one time.
Vermont's awesome.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Clean. It's just pure up there. Awesome mountains. Yeah, man. It's cool. Actually,
so you guys like Bernie Sanders then?
Excuse me?
He's from there, right?
Excuse me? No. Great guy. Great guy.
Can I do my Bernie impression there?
Sure.
You may have noticed that for years I have been critiquing millionaires and billionaires, but since I am now a multi-millionaire, I will only attack billionaires. That's not political. It's just an impression.
He's punching up, right?
Yeah.
Punching up.